Expectations were high, and it started off pretty well. Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol returned from injury on Friday night, but in the end, that was the only good news for the Lakers as the Washington Wizards beat the Lakers 103-100 at home. Here's what D'Antoni had to say.
I told him in there, we put our hands in, and now you guys have probably seen it. You know, we say championship, go out. That's laughable. Championship? You got to be kidding me. You know, now they understand the importance of every possession, offensively and defensively, and every time they got to come out with some kind of determination to be a good basketball team. Then we're just fooling ourselves, and right now that's what we're doing. We're just you know, making a sham mockery out of it, or whatever it is.
Sham, mockery, championship, laughable. D'Antoni said after practice on Sunday that he wasn't singling out any player and that the team overall needed to play better. Well, after you watch the loss to the Wizards, Stephen A. Smith, did this change your mind about the Lakers going out in the first round of the playoffs?
Not at all, because I said they're going out in the first round, and I've meant it all season long, and I continue to mean exactly what I have been saying. If they go into the playoffs, the likelihood is that they'll go in as a 7th or an 8th seed. Golden State is the 6th seed. They're 3.5 games ahead of the Lakers. The Lakers begin a 4-game road trip going up against them. They beat the Warriors, then you're only 2.5 games back. So mathematically, with 12 games remaining, is it possible to catch Golden State? Absolutely. Do I believe it will happen? No, I do not. You've lost the last 2 games. You've lost to Phoenix. You've lost to Washington. Now, Kobe Bryant was hurt and Pau Gasol was out against Phoenix. We know that. Against Washington, Kobe Bryant was back considerably healthier than he was the previous week. Pau Gasol comes back. What does he do? He plays 20 minutes. He gives you 4 points. D'Antoni has to figure out a way to play Dwight Howard and Pau Gasol together, which is what I've been saying, because everybody knows the ingredients to the Lakers' success is that they play those two together. I was talking to some guys in the Miami Heat locker room when they were playing in Boston last Monday night, and they were talking about teams around the league and talking about how tough they believe the Lakers are going to be. But I continue to proclaim vehemently, I might add, I do not see it, because you have to have a coach figure out how to play those two bigs. I've knocked D'Antoni in the past. I've also given him credit for doing a better job, which he has done. And when you look at these losses, the way he responds, the way the fervor, that's what Kobe liked about him, which is why Kobe supported him coming on board. The fact that he's not afraid to hold guys accountable, that he'll call them out and say what needs to be said. But in the end, you have to know how to coach a team with 2 big boys on the front line. D'Antoni hasn't proven that, and as a result, this team is going to face San Antonio or Oklahoma City in the first round. And I don't care what anybody sees. They're not beating San Antonio or Oklahoma City in the first round. I don't believe it. I got to believe that. I got to see that to believe it. And there's no way in hell I'm going to believe I'm going to see that.
Listen, Stephen A., I'll tell you, Skip thinks they're still a threat. I feel you're going to say that, right?
Well, you can say what you want to say.
Well, listen.
Go ahead.
Stephen A.,
You're the Laker fan.
Skip said probably a couple of weeks ago, and I thought this was a good point, he said he believed the Lakers would go on a 16-4 run and end up wherever they end up and still set the place on fire. I know that you don't believe that will happen, but let's hear from Skip. I want to see what his wisdom is, and I tell you, I'm on the fence here. Laker Nation will be mad at me, but I'm on the fence.
I've got to cross-examine my friend Stephen A. Smith, who dares now.
Do I get to sit in the witness chair? Do I get to sit in the witness chair?
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
You're daring to disagree with members of the Miami Heat who tried to warn you that the Lakers are very dangerous right now. And you're also daring to publicly challenge Kobe Bean Bryant, that Kobe Bean Bryant will not get out of the first round. I'm sorry. I'm not with you on this one. I stand by what I said. I did not see the ill-fated ankle injury coming to Kobe at the end of that game in Atlanta. Dante Jones, enough said. But Kobe attempted to play after effectively missing 3 games on an ankle that probably would have held most mortals out, such as Tony Parker. MVP though he was, Tony Parker took 3 weeks to come back on a similar ankle injury. Kobe said, no, I got to do this now. And he played on Friday night, Stephen A. When I'm guessing he probably shouldn't have been playing. Gasol
Wait
came
a
back
minute.
for the first game back. Pau Gasol. And all of a sudden,
Wait a minute.
go ahead.
Wait a minute. Skip Bayless, are you going to sit there
Yes,
and
I'm
try to
sitting
use
here.
Kobe Bryant's injury as an excuse?
Yes.
If you remember, hold it, wait a minute. If you remember when he got injured against Atlanta because of the Dante Jones play, he came back the very next game.
He tried.
Played 12, hold it, wait a minute. Played 12 minutes, couldn't go, and the team without him beat Indiana. So now that he comes back healthier, you're going to tell me that's an excuse
Yes.
for them to lose to Phoenix and Washington?
He played 12 minutes, which then inspired the rest of the team to take it up about 7 levels and beat Indiana at Indiana. That was impressive.
Okay.
But then he came back still sore on Friday night because they needed to put the Wizards game in the bank. But it was Powell's first game back. Stephen A., we're seeing what's happening with Tony Parker trying to refine his place in that San Antonio universe. Powell will find his place in the universe, in the planets that now revolve around Kobe Bryant. But what happened? They got up 18 in the third quarter on the Wizards, and they lost the 18-point lead in 6 minutes before the fourth quarter started. And you know what I loved about it? We finally had a pulse from your coach.
Okay.
Your coach actually acted like, dare I say, a coach.
Right.
Mike D'Antoni actually spoke out after the game and said, I am the coach of this team, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Championship, that's laughable. I loved it. I stood up and applauded. I was on vacation. I'm applauding. Ernestine said, what are you doing? I said, I'm applauding D'Antoni for actually acting like the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. For the first time all year, we didn't get the shrugging. Don't look at me, man. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. He knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't step on the throat of the Wizards when they had a chance. I think Kobe ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. Kobe had about a 10-foot jumper to win the game and missed it.
Yeah.
That's not Kobe. Then he had a wild 3 to win the game, missed that, predictably. But Stephen A., I still like where they've been recently and where they're about to go again. And as a Spurs supporter, they scare me to death. They scare me. I don't want to face the Lakers in the first round. Give me Golden State. Give me.
You know
I'll
what?
take Houston over the Lakers.
You're just showing your weakness. 1 minute you're bragging about Thiago
No,
Splitter,
not today.
and the next thing you know,
after
you don't
last
even
night.
have any faith that they can beat an 8th-seeded Los Angeles Lakers squad. 1 minute you're sitting there and saying that Kobe served as an inspiration by trying to play against Indiana, and the next thing you're blaming him for actually playing against Washington.
He didn't
It
look
makes no
himself.
sense. Your argument makes no
It
sense.
makes every
The fact is, the Lakers with Pau Gasol and Dwight Howard in the lineup are going to have to figure out how to play them together. I will sit up here, Skip, and modify my position in a heartbeat as to the threat the Los Angeles Lakers could be. The day that I see Pau Gasol and Dwight Howard on the floor together, both of them being effective and formidable in Mike D'Antoni's system. Dwight Howard, 20 points, 15 rebounds. He doing his job. Somehow, some way, D'Antoni's got to figure out how to incorporate Pau Gasol, which he has not done. That's the problem, and that's why they're going home in the first round.
The most important thing that
You know
was
what?
said.
I love this. I
Tell
love
him.
this
Tell him.
because Kobe watches this show.
Show, and he's
Thank
on
you,
it.
Stephen A. Are you
most-
sure you're not doing this just to inspire Kobe?
Kobe, he just called you the
Hey,
immortal
listen.
one. The immortal one, if
Hold
you're
on,
watching.
Carrie. Hold on, Carrie.
Yeah, go.
I will openly admit I'm not going to apologize to anybody if the Lakers end up winning and advancing, because that's additional time for me in LA.
Hey,
There are no complaints there. Okay? But I don't see it happening. And in the case of Kobe Bryant, listen, I love him. He's one of the greatest ever. I love the man. But I believe he's losing in the first round. He knows where I stand on this position. This is nothing I haven't told him to his face.
It's Kobe
It's
being
nothing I haven't
Bryant,
told Dwight
Stephen A.
Howard.
It's Kobe being
Hey,
Bryant.
It's not, hey, it's not just about him. It's not just about him.
Yeah, we're
He
listening.
needs help.
Okay. Coming up next,